Right, good morning all. So this continuing along Surah 14 to Surah 14, right? So this is a chapter or a book, right? This is a chapter and or a book which brings mankind out of the darkness into the light, right? Which brings mankind out of the darkness into light, right? Um, It says those who prefer the worldly life over the hereafter and avert people from the way of Allah are those who are deviant and in error, right? Those who prefer the worldly life over the hereafter and avert people from the way of Allah, right, are those who are deviant and in error, right? Um, right. So this one is for, remember what I was saying about if a messenger or if someone, anybody shares a message, right? Anybody who shares a message is a messenger, right? So if a messenger comes and shares the word of God, right, and he shares it in a particular language, even if that language is dialect, even if that language is whatever language, it could be Arabic, English, Spanish, French, Trinidad dialect, right? French Creole, whatever the language is, right? If you share a particular message in a particular language, it is what designed for the people who reside in that place, right? Along with whoever else in the world who could understand or pick up whatever they could also, but it's particularly designed for people of a particular region, right? So you don't come and condemn, criticize people based on the way that they speak. If they are if they are teaching a message from the holy book or from whatever it is, right? Or a message extracted from the book. Don't criticize or condemn people for speaking the way that they speak, because they do so, right? And is intended to capture or to, I don't want to use the word appeal to, but to capture the hearing or the listening of the people in the region that they speak to, right? So it's not to criticize and condemn the way somebody speak. If they speak in dialect and you think English is oh so much better, or some other language, Arabic is so much better, or some other language is so much better, right, than the language that they speak, which is intended to reach a particular people, right? So that's what it says here. We did not send any messenger except speaking in the language of his people, to clearly state this to them, right? Bring out your people from darkness into the light and remind them of Allah, right? Indeed, in there are signs for everyone who is patient and grateful, right? And a reminder that Allah is actually free of need, whilst we humans rely on sustenance, things of the earth to survive. Allah is actually free of need, right? 9. No one knows their number, meaning like no one knows when your number will be called, meaning death, right? No one knows when your time will come to die, right? So this is all preparation for that moment. You prepare for that moment by living the way of the book, right? You prepare for that moment by living the way of the book, right? So you live by the teachings of the book, right? And that's how you prepare. You ready yourself so that, hey, whatever it is after I die, I am comfortable with it, right? If there's in fact heaven or hell, I am comfortable with it. If it's in fact reincarnation, I am comfortable with it. Because why? Because I've lived a life that I don't have regrets with. That it doesn't matter, right? And I've lived a life where I have made, if I've done wrong, I've rectified my wrongs, changed my ways. If therefore I do not have regrets about the life that I've lived, right? So you live your life in a way that, hey, whatever is beyond here, I'm comfortable with it, right? Whatever happens after here, it is inconsequential to me, right? Good. So no one knows when your number would be called, right? Meaning when your death will arrive. So Allah invites you to a particular way of life, that your sins may be forgiven through rectification of past mistakes, right? And He may delay your death for a specified time. If your death is delayed, it might just be to teach you something that you didn't know before, right? It might be to correct some things that you didn't do in the past. It might just be to just sit down and reflect and contemplate, right? It might just be something, right? So your death might be delayed for some particular reason like that, right? You may reflect on your past. You may heal. Your death may be delayed for any particular reason, and is delayed for a specified term until you are appointed, through appointed time, right? So reiterating the message that anybody who shares a message, right, or messenger or prophet, all these words are nothing but what? Men, humankind, women, females, males, people, human beings, humankind like yourself, like myself, right? Humans like ourselves, right? Therefore, that's why keep encouraging the point about not worshipping idols and not worshipping people as idols, right? um right, Allah confirms favor upon whom He wills of his servants, right? It has never been. Right. So if Allah actually wants to bring you evidence that, hey, this book is actually true, or there are verses in this book that's actually true, and this book is actually the truth, right? He would bring forth to you evidence of such, right? And He will choose, He will determine, He will choose. It is by His permission that people are granted what? The evidence that, hey, this thing is real, right? This is true, right? It is by His permission that He will grant you, that He will grant others, right, the power to show you, right, to show you, to demonstrate this, right? Um, so why should you not rely upon Allah when He has guided you to His good ways, right? This is about requesting victory, right? First, you might be in a certain position, and you might be in a competitive state of mind for some reason, for something, right? This is about requesting victory. Now, it is said that you just do what you need to do, right? You just do what you need to do what is right to do. Do what is right to do. Do what is right. I'm not going to say necessary. Do what is right to do. And Allah will accord victory, defeat accordingly, right? Victory and defeat will be accorded, victory or defeat. You will be given victory or defeat accordingly, right? It's not something to request, because God already knows, right? He already knows, right? So you do not need to request victory, right? Do what is right, and victory will be accorded, right? Whenever, however, right? The example of those who disbelieve in God, their deeds are like ashes which the wind blows forcefully on a stormy day, and they are unable to keep from what they earned a single thing, right? This is what is extreme error, right? So this is stating the condition of disbelievers of Allah, disbelievers of God, right? The deeds are like ashes which wind blows forcefully on a stormy day, and they are unable to keep from what they earned a single thing, right? Right, if Allah wills, He can do away with you and produce a new creation, right? And that is not difficult for Allah, right? And I was contemplating on that verse, and I was also thinking that it is not difficult for Allah to equalize conditions, equalize scenarios, because there's situations as I was mentioning, right? Where people think that they are one spiritually higher than others, two, and then there's being materially higher than others, right? So the only situation that could actually solve this is actually what? Equalizing that scenario by everybody teaching and knowing, right? Teaching and knowing that everybody is in fact, this book is in fact an equalizer, right? This book is in fact an equalizer to that situation, right? Everybody understanding the teachings of the Quran is in fact an equalizer of that situation, right? Right, so a good word, meaning the good teachings, good practices, like for example, what I did in the surahs, where I talked about the teachings of Islamic principles and virtues, right? Those two videos prior, right, that I made regarding Islamic principles and virtues, right? A good word, that's good word, right? That's likened to a good word, and a good word is likened to what? A good tree, whose root is firmly fixed and branches are high in the sky, right? And produces fruit, right, consistently. A bad word, which is not following those guidelines, those principles and virtues, and those in those two surahs that I did prior. A bad word is like a bad tree uprooting from the surface of the earth, not having any stability, right? It is Allah who created the heavens and the earth and sent down rain from the sky and produced thereby some fruit as provision for you, and subjected to you the ships to sail through the sea by his command, and subjected for you the rivers, right? So what subjected to you means he subjected the ships to sail, right? So this is what Allah subjects to you, right? He subjects inanimate things to use, right? So something like this ship, something like ships, right? Mankind is actually in control. That's an inanimate, is a non-living thing, right? A non-living thing, right? So that is what is subject to you, right? That is what you have dominion over, right? You have dominion over inanimate objects. A boat, a car, right? Those things are made serviceable to you, meaning that you use those things, right? That's what dominion is, right? Right, that's what real dominion is. Or you have a house, you use a house. You have a car, you use a car. You have a boat, you use a boat. Right, that is what dominion is. Right. He subjected for you the sun and moon continuously in its orbit, and interchanges night and day. Right, and I said that if you should count the favor of Allah, right, you can't even count it. Right, even if you should, even if you can try to count the favors of Allah, you can't even count it, right? He knows what is concealed and what is declared, and nothing is hidden from Allah. Nothing on the earth or heavens is hidden from Him, right? So some of us at the point of death, right? At the point of death, we would say, God, give me more time, right? Give me more time. Delay me, right? So I can do that which you had required me to do in the first place, right? So at the time of death, so this is why we're emphasizing people before that time reach to do that which is right, because you don't want to be in a point when at the time of death you are saying, God, give me more time or delay my death so I can do what you asked me to do in the first place, right? Right, so as I was saying, there are some who conspire, right? There are people who conspire or plan certain things, plan damaging things, right? But all of our plans are recorded, right? In a clear register, as was stated, right? All our plans are recorded, right? And Allah can actually do away with certain plans, or He can cause certain plans to come into fruition, right? Right. So this Quran is notification for people that He may be warned thereby, and they know that He is but one God, right? So the book is a notification that what people are not to be worshipped, idols are not to be worshipped, God is but one God, right? The book also talks about forgiving you and your parents on the day of judgment, right? But on this day, actually, every soul is said that every soul is held accountable for his or her deeds, including mine and yours, right? So you, all of us are held accountable, right? We can only ask for forgiveness, right? We can only ask for forgiveness. What truly matters is what? Change, right? We can only ask for forgiveness from God. Humans on earth could only ask for forgiveness, right? As I was saying, change was actually required, right? So that's why I don't be asking for forgiveness beyond that which I need to ask for, right? You do something wrong, you ask for forgiveness, and you change and move on, right? So, Surah 14, tomorrow we continue with Surah 15. This chapter was about bringing people out of the darkness into the light, right? A light at the end of the tunnel, right? Bringing people out of darkness into the light.